It's Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to do this really cute neck roll pillow. I actually use this one quite a bit. You can customize this for however firm or soft that you need to have your pillow. It only takes one ball of yarn to make this pillow, and has some decoration to it as well. So it's got texture, and I find it to be very comfortable. I use this when laying on the couch or laying in bed. I just put my head right on it and it helps support my neck really well. So let me drop the camera down. I'll talk about the yarn and the hook and anything else that you might need to make this pillow. So the yarn I used to make the neck pillow is called Premier Sweet Roll. You only need one of these to make the pillow. It is 100% acrylic yarn. It is a medium 4. It's 245 yards. This color that I have here that I'm going to demonstrate making the pillow with today is called Wasabi Pop. The color that I used to make the pillow in the beginning there and in the thumbnail is called Frosty Swirl. This is what you'll actually have left over. Just a little bit of a little ball is all you'll have left over. So again, you don't have to use this particular yarn. You can use any yarn that you want. You don't have to use a self-striping yarn. I just thought it looked a little bit nicer with a self-striping yarn. I used a G hook, a 4.0 millimeter hook, because I wanted a nice tight stitch with that. You'll need a yarn needle to weave in your ends, a pair of scissors, and you might want to have a couple of stitch markers on hand just in case you need them. And of course you're going to need some poly fiber fill or something to stuff your pillow with. Once you have all your supplies, let's get started. To start the pillow, we're going to work on the end first. So we're going to make 2 of these ends. So we're going to start with a chain of 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to slip stitch into that first chain to form a ring. If you prefer, you can use the magic ring technique. I just found with using the number of double crochets that we're going to use to start this, the magic ring can tend to open up. So I like to use the chain 4 method, but it's really up to you. So we're going to chain 2. In this beginning part, that chain 2 is going to count as your first double crochet. Again, a lot of times people will use a chain 3. I'm going to be using a chain 2 to count as my first stitch because I believe it hides the seam a little bit better than using a chain 3. If you feel like you're going to have a little bit of trouble finding that, you can always take your stitch marker and mark the top of that chain 2. So I'll just do that just so that you can see what it'll look like with it being marked. So we're going to put 11 double crochets into the center of the ring. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11. Now we can just go ahead and count back to make sure we have enough. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this marked one will be our 12th stitch. So we're just going to go ahead and take our stitch marker out and slip stitch into where we had the top of the chain 2. That tail is getting in the way. I do apologize about that tail being in the way. There we go. Just like that. So now what we can do is just give that tail a little tug and it closes up the hole a little bit. So now we have 12 double crochets, and that is the end of round 1. To start round 2, we're going to chain up 2 again. Again, you can mark that stitch if you'd like. You can go ahead and put that stitch marker in, which I will do that for you. If you don't need the stitch marker, again, you don't have to use it. And we're going to go ahead and go right back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into. Now it might be a little tight, and we're going to put a double crochet right back into that same stitch. And then 2 double crochets into each stitch around. So that's 1, 2, go to the next stitch and go 1 and 2. And we're going to work that pattern all the way around, putting 2 double crochets into each stitch. We're at the end of round 2. We have 24 stitches. We're going to go ahead and take that stitch marker out and slip stitch into that first stitch that we made. To start round 2, we're going to go ahead, to start round 3, we're going to chain up 2. Go ahead and put the stitch marker back in if you need it. If you don't have to. And we're going to double crochet into the next stitch, and we're also going to put a front post double crochet into that same stitch. So here's our post, so we're going to yarn over, go into the post, yarn over again, and pull up a loop and complete our double crochet. Now we need to skip that stitch that's behind our post. Now we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch, and then in that next stitch right here we're going to do a double crochet and a front post double crochet. So a double crochet, then a front post double crochet. Next stitch we're going to do a double crochet, and the next one a double crochet and a front post double crochet. So this one right here. And a double crochet in the next stitch. And in the next stitch, we're going to do a front post double crochet, or excuse me, a double crochet, then the front post double crochet. And then we do the front post double crochet. So continue the pattern all the way around. You do a double crochet, and then a double crochet, and a front post double crochet. All the way around to get back to the beginning, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. So we're at the end of round 3. We now have 36 stitches. We can go ahead and take that stitch marker out and slip stitch into the top of the chain 2. Now for round 4, we're going to chain up 2. Go ahead and get that stitch marker again and put it in the top of the chain 2. and we're going to double crochet in the next stitch, and then in the next stitch where you can see we have that front post double crochet, we're going to do a double crochet, and then we're going to front post double crochet in that same front post double crochet from the row below. So we're just going to match what we see. So there. Now we're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. I know it's kind of hard to see with this dark green yarn, but we did 2 double crochets, and in this next stitch we have a front post double crochet. So we're going to do a double crochet, a regular double crochet, then we're going to front post into that front post double crochet. So again, we're doing a regular double crochet and then a front post double crochet. I'm going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to come up to our next front post double crochet. So we're going to double crochet, then front post double crochet into the same stitch. After the first row of round of double crochet, front post double crochets, it makes it much easier because you can see where they're popping up. So then double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And we're up against another front post double crochet. So we're going to double crochet, then front post double crochet. So please complete that pattern all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. And we're at the end of round 4. We now have 48 stitches. Go ahead and take the stitch marker out and slip stitch into the top of that chain 2. Okay, we have one more round on this, and this end will be complete. So we're going to chain up 2, grab our stitch marker and mark that top stitch. So we're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. So now we're up against our first post stitch right there. So we're going to double crochet in the top of it, and then we're going to double crochet, do a front post double crochet. And we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Now we come up to our next post stitch. Double crochet on the top and front post double crochet into the same stitch. Again, double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Then front post double crochet, or we got to double crochet first in the top, sorry about that. And then we're going to front post double crochet into that same stitch. So we'll do that one more time. Double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And we come up to our next post stitch, double crochet in the top of the post stitch, and then we're going to front post double crochet into the post stitch. So please continue this pattern all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I have made it all the way back around. We're going to go ahead and remove our stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch that we made, which is the top of the chain 2. And we can go ahead and fasten off. We don't need to leave a really long tail, but we do need to leave a little bit of a tail here. We now have 60 stitches, and you just need to go and repeat this one more time because we need 2 of these round ends to put on either end of the pillow. So go ahead and make a second one of these, and then we can go on to working the pillow. Okay, once you have both your ends done, to start the body of the pillow, we're going to start with a chain of 60. Go down your chain, make sure you don't twist it, and we're going to slip stitch into the first chain that we made to form a ring. Chain 1, and we're going to double crochet right back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into. This will be our first stitch of the round. So if you have difficulty finding that first stitch, go ahead and use that stitch marker. And again, I'm sorry that I'm still on the brown color here, but it's going to change shortly. Or this dark olive color here. So we're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around the chain. So row 1 is pretty simple, just 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around. There we go, we're changing colors. This will be a little bit easier to see now. We're going into the light blue. I've made it all the way back around. We now have 60 double crochet. Let's take our stitch marker out and slip stitch into that first double crochet that we made. To start round 2, we're going to chain 1, turn the work, and that very first stitch right here that we made, we're going to make a front post double crochet into that stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go around the post. So we got to find that post right there. So we're going to go around that post. It's kind of a thick post. And we're going to loop around, and we're going to make that front post double crochet. This is going to help hide our seam by doing it this way too. And let's mark that stitch. Now we're going to double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then in our next stitch, we're going to do a front post double crochet. then double crochet in the next 4 stitches. One, 2, 3, and 4. Then on front post double crochet into that next stitch. And double crochet in the next 4 stitches. And we're going to continue that pattern all the way around. You should get both loops. It's 3 and 4. And that next stitch will be that front post double crochet. Okay, so continue this pattern all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 2. We still have 60 stitches. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the first stitch we did, which was the front post double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, turn the work. Now in this round, instead of doing front post double crochets, we're going to be doing back post double crochets. So we're going to yarn over, and that first stitch we're going to yarn over our hook, and we're going to go through the post around the back of the work. So we're going to find that post, and we're going to go around it like this. Grab the yarn, pull it through. So we have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, yarn over and go through the second 2 loops, and now we've just made a back post double crochet. The first one is probably the trickiest one on this round. Then we're going to do double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And before we go any further, let's mark that first stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is that first stitch, just in case you have trouble finding it. So we want to make sure you put a stitch marker in there. Now we're ready to do our next back post double crochet. So if you tip your work over, you'll see that back post. It'll be sticking right up. I know this yarn is a little bit difficult to see it, but you'll feel that back post sticking up. So you're going to yarn over your hook, go through that post, just like that. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and do your double crochet. So that way you're going to basically be following the same pattern to keep those post stitches sticking up. And we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we got our next post stitch, which is right here. If you tip it, you'll see your post. It's sticking right up. You're going to put your yarn over your hook, go through the post, grab the yarn, pull it through, and complete your double crochet. Then we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we come up to our next post stitch right here. So grab your yarn. Like I said, it seems a little fiddly because I'm trying to show it to you under the camera, but when you're actually doing it, it's not this fiddly. Here's your post stitch. Put your hook under it, grab your yarn, pull it through, and there's your post stitch, your back post double crochet. And then you double crochet the next 4 stitches. So continue this all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the round. I'm at the end of round 3. We still have 60 stitches. We're going to slip stitch to that first stitch that we made. Start round 4, we chain 1, and we turn the work. And right here I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second and put this stitch marker in so you can take a look at how your work should be looking right now. Because you can really see these post stitches are like popping out now. So it looks like almost like a basket weave, because you have the little spaces in between. So that's how your work should be looking. And what you're going to do for rows 4, let me just put this back in here so I can get the yarn in the right direction. Okay, so we chain 1, we turn the work, and straighten the camera out too. So for rounds 4 through 24, we're going to be repeating rounds 2 and 3. So rounds 2, for round 2 you're going to do front post double crochet, so you're going to be doing your front post, and then at the end of those rounds you turn your work, you go in the opposite directions, and you're going to be doing the back post. So I'll start you off on round 4, and then I'll let you finish up from round 4. We'll start round 4 together from 4 to 22, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of round 22. So we're going to start with a front post double crochet. We yarn over our hook, go around the post, which you'll see it's sticking up. You can just stick your hook right in there and get around it, and pull up your loop and complete your double crochet. And we got next 4 stitches are double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we have our front post again. So we go around the post and do our double crochet. Then 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We go around our post for the next stitch and do our front post double crochet. Then 4 double crochets after that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you just continue that all the way around to get back to the beginning. I'll tell you what, I'll meet back up with you, and I'll start you off on round 5 as well, just to show you that back post double crochet one more time. And I've made it all the way back around. We still have 60 stitches. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch to that first front post double crochet that we made. And we're going to go ahead and start round 5 and then you'll be on your own to finish up round 5 through 22. So we're going to chain 1, turn the work, And we're going to start off with a back post double crochet. So yarn over. This is the most difficult, this first one to reach. So you're going to reach around, grab that post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and go through 2 loops, yarn over, and go through 2 loops. Then we do 4 double crochets, 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 1 more. And we're up to our next post stitch, our back post right here. So you're going to yarn over, go into the back post, grab your yarn, pull it through, and finish your double crochet. Those first couple of rows are really the hardest part. Once you get your pattern established, then it really becomes rather easy to do. You can actually work on this while you're watching TV. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're up to our next post. Just insert your hook into the stitch, grab that yarn, and pull it through. And 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. And I'll show you one more back post and then you'll be on your own. Yarn over, insert into that back post or around that post. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and complete your double crochet. Okay, so continue working your pattern all the way around, and then you're going to be back for row 6 or round 6. You're going to start with a repeat of round 2, and then you go round 2, round 3, round 2, round 3, all the way to round 22, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of round 22. We're at the end of round 22. We still have 60 stitches. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch to that first double crochet, that front post double crochet that we made. Now we're not going to fasten off yet. We're going to chain 1 and turn the work around. We're going to get one of our end pieces and we're going to slip stitch this end piece to our pillow. So what we want to do is line up our post stitches. So since we have our post stitch here, we want to line up our post stitch right here. Now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch this piece all the way around. So just go into that. We're going to make sure that our post stitches line up, which they do, and continue slip stitching all the way around. So continue with your slip stitches all the way around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of this round. So I made it all the way back around, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch we made. Here's our chain 1. So I'm going to go ahead and get that slip stitch into that first stitch that we made and fasten right off. Now you're going to have a little bump there, but you could try doing one of those invisible finishes. That's really up to you. It really didn't seem to matter, especially with this type of yarn, if it was that you're going to really notice it too much. So we're going to go ahead and weave this end in and weave all the ends in on the inside, right in here, and this one on the end where we finished, and then we'll be ready to stuff our pillow and finish off the other end. So let's get our ends woven in and I'll be right back. Now that our ends are all woven in, I'm going to get out some of this stuffing here. Sorry about the bag rattling. And we're just going to put it into the pillow, just like so. Now you don't want to overstuff your pillow, but you also don't want to understuff your pillow either. So you want to make sure you get enough batting into your pillow to make it firm enough, but not too much batting into it so that it pokes out your stitches. So it's really going to be up to you on the firmness of your pillow. So you're just going to get it in there and shape your pillow. So just keep stuffing it until you have your pillow to your likeness. Once you have your pillow stuffed to your liking, get your yarn, attach your slip knot to your yarn, and we're going to attach the end. So what we're going to do is just tuck the tails in, just tuck those tails inside. And make sure you line up the, sorry, it's a little bit hard to get this on camera here. Line up the post stitches to a post stitch on the pillow, just like we did before. The pillow's kind of stiff here. I'm trying to get it lined up so that you can see, maybe you can see it this way here. Post stitch and a post stitch. And just make sure it's lined up. And then you're going to just slip stitch it together. Don't worry about the tails. You can always weave those in later. So just go ahead and slip stitch it together. Now you're going to be working, this end you're working in the underside of the chain. So just make sure you get your post stitches lining up together. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you got post stitch to post stitch. So that the pattern lines up. And just keep slip stitching it together. So you get all the way around the pillow. Just go ahead and take your time to make sure you got, see my post stitch isn't lined up here, so you're going to just pull it back out. Make sure the post stitches are lined up. And then slip stitch it together. There, you want to make sure those post stitches are lined up, because otherwise the pattern will look a little off. Your end won't look quite right. So there's post stitch to post stitch. There we go, they're lined up. So continue working around, and I'll meet back up with you at the end. Once you come around, you just tuck in all of your ends and fasten off, tuck in all of your ends, and your pillow is now complete. This is the one we did together. This is the one I have in a thumbnail. So thanks for watching. If you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring that bell. Thanks for watching and happy crocheting. Bye-bye.